What's up, everyone? It's Bones here. I'd like to begin this video by giving a huge shout out to TCG Player for the opportunity to be a part of their affiliate program. If you want to help a content creator out, all you have to do is click on the TCG Player link down below, and it won't cost you anything either. With the ban list finally here, we can begin the Legacy of Destruction videos, and usually I would start with the deck that featured on the cover art, but seeing as we have a few months more of what could be just fire format, I figured I would get this out of the way first. So we're going to start here with the Snake Eyes Ash along with the Bonfire and any other card that you can discard. So it's just a 2.5 card combo, and we're going to start here by using the Ash, getting ourselves the Poplar. We can then special summon out the Poplar with its own effect as we added it to the hand off of the Snake Eyes Ash. We'll then be able to get ourselves the original Sinful Spoils off of the Poplar, go into our Anima, and from here we can then use the effect of Poplar, putting it in the Spell and Trap zone, activate the original Sinful Spoils, bringing out the Jet Synchron, and we still are playing the Jet Synchron because in order to get the whole Nemesis thing going, you do need a card banished. So from here we're then going to be able to use the effect of Ash, sending away the Anima, and this is something important to note, that because we don't have Link Karibo anymore, we don't have a Link pointer that points down, so you can't really just make a convenient IP Masquerena in the main monster zone under a Link 1 anymore. So now you're forced to go into the extra monster zone, and that does change how you play the deck a little bit. It really forces you into a more linear combo approach, but we're now going to be able to use the effect of Oak in order to bring back the Ash. Then we'll be able to use the effect of Oak to get our Flamberge, as we'll then go into our IP Masquerena, and then use the effect of Flamberge in order to get back two monsters. From here we're then going to go into the Sebek Sorcerer, and this is just the third attribute for your Protos, as we'll then be able to go into the Promethean Princess, use the effect of Promethean Princess, bring back the Flamberge, use the effect of the Flamberge to get the IP in the Spell and Trap zone, use the effect of the Jet Synchron, bring it back, then we can link away into the Raging Phoenix, and from here we can activate the Bonfire, get ourselves the Nemesis Flag, which happens to be a fire monster as well, which will be important momentarily, but we're now going to be able to special summon out the Nemesis Flag, put back the Jet Synchron, and this is really cool because it means that the Jet Synchron is now live if you manage to put back the original in your deck off of a wanted card, but we're then going to be able to use the effect of Flag, get the Protos. We can then special summon out the Protos, and I would like to point out that you can either banish the Snake Eyes Ash in the graveyard or even another Snake Eyes, or you could banish your Nemesis Flag on the field. I just want to show that you can do either, but we're going to then be able to special summon out the Protos. You can either call Fire or Dark here, whatever you want to do. I think both are relatively strong this format regardless, but now we're going to be able to link away into the Sunlight Wolf, and this is pretty cool because it means that when you use the effect of Flamberge on your opponent's turn to special summon out the IP, you can use the effect of Sunlight Wolf in order to get back your flag, and your flag can get back one of your banished monsters, which the Relinquished Anima can be pretty important as it's a Link 1. You can even get the Sebek Sorcerer for time, or just if you need another copy for resources of Ash, that's fine too. From here we'll go on to the next combo. Now I want to go over the main line approaches of Snake Eyes Ash and the wanted plus a discard, but we're going to start here by using the effect of Ash in order to get ourselves the Poplar. We can then special summon out the Poplar, use the effect of Poplar on field in order to get ourselves the Snake Eyes Temple, activate the Temple, and now we'll get the one new card in this deck that we are playing post Legacy of Destruction, and this is Snake Eyes Diabellstar. It reads, when an attack is declared involving this card and an opponent's monster, you can place both that opponent's monster and this card face up in their owner Spell and Trap zone as a continuous spell. And this is actually really solid because if you're going second, this can serve as a board breaker in order to deal with a potential problem that your opponent has. But while this card is treated as a continuous spell, you can target one fire monster in your graveyard except Snake Eyes Diabellstar, place it face up in its owner Spell and Trap zone as a continuous spell, and if you do special summon this card, you can only use each effect of Snake Eyes Diabellstar once per turn. And the really cool thing about this is that you can use the Diabellstar's effect, the final one, in order to place a monster in the Spell and Trap zone to go along with the Temple, be special summoned off of Temple on your opponent's turn after they normal summon or special summon something, and that can just add on to your boards as it gives you more flexibility on when and how you can respond to them. So while your combos are a little bit more forced into one way because you have to send the Relinquished Anima so you can go into the IP Masquerena and stuff, you still have control of your end board being whatever you really want it to be. But from here we're then going to be able to use the effect of Poplar, use the effect of Ash sending away itself and the Poplar, bring out the Oak. Use the effect of Oak to bring out the Ash. Now we'll be able to use the effect of Oak sending itself away along with the Anima in order to get ourselves the Flamberge. We'll then go into the IP Masquerena, use the effect of Flamberge in order to bring out the 2 level 1s. We'll then go into the Promethean Princess, bring out the Flamberge, I believe, as we'll then use the effect of Flamberge in order to put the IP Masquerena in the Spell and Trap Zone. We'll then go into the Pit Knight Yearly, and it's because it's a Fire Link too, and we're also going to be able to use the Snake Eyes Diabellstar in order to bring itself out, as we'll then be able to put the Flamberge Dragon in the Spell and Trap Zone also, so that's something really nice, that when your opponent happens to normal or special summon something, you can special summon out the Flamberge and then trigger the Yearly as well once you use the effect of Flamberge in order to bring out the IP Masquerena. So that's what I mean by during your opponent's turn, when you respond to them is so much more flexible for you, and you're just going to have a lot of opportunities to hit critical choke points because of how easy it is to trigger all of this stuff. But we're now going to be able to go into the Raging Phoenix as we'll go on to the next combo. Now this will be the final combo for the video as we only really got one new card, but we're now going to be able to bring out our Diabellstar as we're going to pitch the Crossout Designator. We'll then be able to get the original Sinful Spoils as we're going to use its effect in order to bring out the Ash, and the Ash can get ourselves the Poplar. So again, a lot of the same stuff that you've been seeing through this video and really probably the last few months. I know that even Master Duels has a lot of this stuff as well. So if you're coming from there, you've seen a lot of this stuff probably. The stuff that you haven't seen could have an impact on how you play against this deck in the future. But from here, we're now going to go into the Anima, use the effect of Poplar, as we'll then be able to use the effect of Ash in order to bring out the Oak by sending away the Anima. Then we can use the Oak to bring out the Ash, as we'll then be able to use the effect of Oak so that we can go into our Flamberge. And now our Flamberge and our Ash can turn into the IP Masquerena, use the effect of Flamberge, bring out 2 level 1s, as we'll then be able to go into our Promethean Princess, and then we'll use the Promethean Princess to bring back the Flamberge. And now we can use the effect of Flamberge, putting the IP in the Spell and Trap Zone, link away the Flamberge, as we're going to be able to get it back via the Snake Eyes Diabellstar since we have the Temple. And we're then going to use the effect of the Snake Eyes Diabellstar as we'll be able to put the Flamberge in the Spell and Trap Zone. And from here we can link away into the Pit Knight Yearly. You can also go into the Sunlight Wolf if you would like to. It just depends on what you really want to go into. And then the last thing that we can do here is use the Wanted to put back the original, get a draw as well. So with all of the combos out of the way, we can get onto the deck profile, and this is based on the On God deck list. If you know, you know, but you may have also watched my Evolzar video. It played a 4-card Evolzar package in the main deck, which is pretty much just this in the Nemesis version of it, as we do use the Jet Synchron to get the Nemesis Flag banished, or the card that we need banished so that we can special summon out the Nemesis Flag. If you didn't watch the combos and just skipped straight to the deck profile, a bunch of new cards that we got that I would like to read over as well. Sinful Spoils of Slumber reads, target 1 face-up special summon monster on the field, change it to face-down defense position. If you control a level 5 or higher illusion monster and this card is in your graveyard, you can set this card but banish it when it leaves the field. You can only use 1 Sinful Spoils of Dozing or Slumber, whatever it's called, effect per turn, and only once that turn. We got another trap called Subdual that reads, take 1 level 5 or higher illusion monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it. If summoned this way, you cannot activate its effects during the main phase this turn. Or you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 face down card you control, return it to the hand, then you can set 1 spell trap from your hand. You can only use 1 Sinful Spoil cycle effect per turn and only once that turn. We then have the Sinful Spoil Struggle. It's a quick play, and I think that this is an interesting card and might see a little tug of war with Gem, but it's a quick play that reads, target cards you control up to the number of your Sinful Spoils cards that are banished and or in your graveyard, and or cards your opponent controls up to the number of their Sinful Spoils cards that are banished and or in their graveyard. Destroy them. So a really interesting card for the mirror, and if this set card in its owner's control is destroyed or banished by an opponent's card effect, you can shuffle up to 2 cards on the field into the deck. You can only activate 1 battle per turn. The fact that if your opponent is on Cyclone and they happen to hit this, it can potentially reward you for that. We then have the Diabells, which is a new monster in this lore. I really don't know if it'll see play in this deck at all, as it's not searchable off of the Wanted, which is downside. That said, you can still technically search it off of this, which you can get off of Diabellstar. That isn't the way that Snake Eyes actually plays, and it's not what it wants to do. I'm just going to read it here. If a Sinful Spoils card in either graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Diabells once per turn this way. Your opponent cannot activate spell trap cards that were not set. If either player player sets a spell trap to their field while this monster is on the field, except during the damage step, you can target one card you control and one card your opponent controls, destroy them. You can only use this effect of Diabells once per turn. So even though not searchable, it's still a very good card on its own. I think at most we may see this on the side deck, maybe this in some weird world. I don't know about that yet. But we then have the one Magna Hut, but the Magna Hut is something I want to talk about because with the ban of Linkuriboh, Bystials might just be impactful, which means that the usage for Dark kind of goes down, but we still have Diabellstar, which makes it an easy Dark to use so that you can special summon out a potential opponent's Diabellstar, but obviously it's not as beneficial as when we had the Linkuriboh. Then I would also like to talk about the Underworld Goddess. Because we're playing the Sebek Sorcerer and the Arch Nemesis stuff, we don't have room for the Underworld Goddess, but if you do choose to not play Protos and just play the more pure Snake Eyes version deck, put the Underworld Goddess over the Sebek Sorceress and be able to pretty much play the same thing, except you just don't have the Nemesis stuff. But with all of that out of the way, I'm just going to get onto the card by card, as I don't have too much else to say about the deck. It's really just regular Snake Eyes with a 3-card Nemesis package and some edits to the extra deck that were made in order to incorporate the new Snake Eyes Diabellstar card. But we have the 3 Diabellstar, the 3 copies of Ash, the 3 copies of Bonfire, the 3 Wanted, the 2 Crossout, the 1 Called By, the 1-for-1, Jet Synchron Protos, 2 Flags, 2 Poplars, the 1 Oak, the 1 Original, the 1 Temple, the 1 Snake Eyes Diabellstar, the 2 Flambers, the 3 copies of Nib, the 3 copies of Ash, the 3 copies of Valor, and the 3 copies of Imperm to round out the main deck. Onto the extra deck, we have Zealantis, Apo, Raging Phoenix, Decode, which the way you go into Heat Soul changes now as well, because you can only really go into it if you're playing Almirage, or if you go into it with your Sunlight Wolf and IP Masquerena. So this is something that could potentially come out. We then have the 2 copies of the Promethean Princess, the 1 copy of the Sunlight Wolf, the Nightmare Phoenix, the Pit Knight Eerie. We then have the 1 copy of Hida, the 1 copy of the Sebek Sorcerer, the 1 copy of Dark, Masquerena, the SP Little Knight, and the Relinquished Anima to round out the deck profile. So for everyone who's made it this far, I'd like to thank you for watching and for the 700 plus subscribers. I truly appreciate your support, and now that we've monetized the channel, giving us access to supers and memberships means that more awesome stuff is on the horizon. To get the channel membership, just click on the description below and there will be a link that takes you there. You'll also notice a free Discord link that I've made for us too. If you want to support me as a content creator, even if you can't donate supers or get a membership for the channel, clicking on those thumbs up and subscribe buttons help a lot too. For those wondering, I do plan on making updates to the channel as the support on the channel grows. Anyways, I hope to see you on the next one. It's Bones, signing out.